Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of the Daytripper Photo Show. This is episode number 116. We've been doing this for a while, and we've got a pretty cool guest with us tonight. Her name is Remy Darling, and I've been watching you for a while. I've known you for a little bit. You've been on some day trips, or at least the Muskoka wildlife session, which was pretty awesome. You drove up with all of us. It was fun. So Remy does a lot of photo retouching, and this is pretty much how I know you and your work. The things that you've done with the Sin City, what do you call it, the Sin City series that you've done, yes, and some of the other work that you've done. It's surreal, it's interesting, and the work that you put into the manipulation of the photo is pretty advanced. So I invited you on the show tonight.
Oh, it is. Hopefully
clarify with everybody some of the work that's involved in this awesome stuff that you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So to everybody, this is Remy Darling. Hello, hello.
Hi.
So just explain a bit about your background in photography and some things that you found interesting as you got into this, because everybody goes through a process, and you start here, you end up there. Like, give us a brief synopsis of that, maybe.
I was really interested in photography. I really like the idea of photography. Big fan. Big fan.
The idea of it, yeah, just like the whole concept of capturing light and.
Exactly. It was a huge fan of capturing moments and keeping them for an eternity, kind of thing. I signed up for a high school photography class. They only offered it to grade 11s, and I was allowed to get in at grade 10 because my grades were on a roll.
That's handy.
Yes, it worked out well. And then I promptly failed that class.
Oh.
I did. I failed my first photography class ever.
How did you fail a photography? Oh, that's conversation for the meat and potatoes of this. So we'll get back to that. It's not often that you hear that. So that's pretty cool. So from there, though, what stirred the passion to get into advanced editing?
The opportunity to take photos and make them into dreamscapes, almost.
So you're creating an entire mood and aura.
An entire world all my own.
That's very cool. It's a neat way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Well, let's say hi.
It's art.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
I was just going to say, let's say hi.
There's a cross line between digital art and photography, but digital art brought me into photography, which is really funny because photography was what got me there, but digital art is what brought me back to the classic form of photography.
Interesting. So on meeting everybody, Navi, what kind of this kind of work do you do? Like, do you ever do some really in-depth photo manipulation with your stuff?
Not so much, creating sort of a different world kind of thing. Or I guess I kind of stick more to like just the photography part. I do a lot of retouching for, like portraits and that kind of stuff. But I think it's quite different from what Remy does.
Mm-hmm.
Just go through your website, and it's kind of cool. Like some of your dark stuff is really neat. The Dark Man, I think, is my favorite. Very, very dramatic. I like that a lot.
Is it the guy with
and a beard, I think? No, his face is red. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Dark Man, yeah. I like that kind of stuff, like sort of the darker stuff.
Well, we're going to get into seeing some of your work in a little while, but before we get to that, Gabriel is with us. He's driving his car. Last we knew, he was in Shangri-La, and what's up, man? Tell us what's going down.
Yeah, I just finished a job at the Shangri-La, and just finished ordering a coffee at the Tim Horton Shangri-La. So the Tim Hortons and the chicken wrap is my dinner. Photography, it's a glamorous life, but sometimes it's a hard one. So waiting for valet parking to pick up my car. You still got to pay them, man. Jeez.
Even though
balls out of that.
You should add extra to the cost of the job to get paid for that.
Oh no, I do. Yeah. So it's like, I'll just park at the hotel. That way I don't have to pay for parking. Well, it's $30 for valet parking.
Oh,
so yeah, you just expense that to the client. So, but yeah. Hi, I'm glad to be here, and I will be muting myself whenever I'm not talking. So if you ask me a question and there's a long, quiet period, it's because I'm giving you an in-depth answer with the mute on.
Okay, we'll try and remind you.
All right.
So, do you do a lot of retouching in your own work, though?
I do. Yeah. With wedding photography and with portrait photography and stuff, there's a fair amount of retouching. But the difference with the type of retouching that we do is that you want to do heavy retouching that doesn't look like any retouching has been done. I don't try to. I basically want it to look like, you know, those mornings you jump out of bed and you look in your mirror and you're like, God damn, I'm beautiful. You know, it's like you got no zits, your hair's perfect, you don't have any blemishes, your lips aren't dry, your eyelashes are perfect, everything like that. So when I'm shooting, that's how I'm editing. I'm making a person look how they look on their best day. So I don't try and enhance or embellish on anything. Right. I just, you know, if it's your wedding day, you're going to have a couple zits. Well, not when I'm done with you. You know, because of the stress. And when you look back 10 years on those pictures, you're going to be like, God, I look good that day. You're not going to remember that you woke up and, you know, you had some acne. You're going to remember that you look fantastic.
Exactly. Or you're not going to remember getting a fat lip from your brother elbowing you in the face. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that I would enhance. Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody for being on the show right now. And Gabriel, I mean, you're diehard, man. You're always like this, tuning in from being on the job site, actually at somebody's house working, to, you know, your drive home from work. So awesome.
I'm the on location reporter. So I'm reporting here from on the scene of the DVP northbound, and photography looks good.
Suggest you use higher ISOs today, folks.
Yes, definitely. The rain's going to make it a little bit difficult to keep your lens clean, so bring a golf umbrella.
It's not like you're from like one of those traffic airplanes or helicopters.
Well, we got to get him those helicopter modifier tips for his car, for his Mighty Focus. All right.
No, well, you know what? One thing I'll just say quickly about photography that I love. I shot a company's Christmas party. Nothing too crazy. But they were a fun group, and I had a backdrop set up, and they were a lot of fun, and the owner really liked me, and he's part of an entrepreneurs group, and so I got hired to shoot a corporate event tonight, and it's, you know, it's a corporate event, whatever, and it's for the entrepreneurs group. It's the International Awards Assembly where kids that are in high school, it's kind of like Shark Tank, but they go through qualifications to present today, and there were 6 finalists that presented, and I wasn't there for any of that, but at the end they had this guy that's one of the head-ups of this organization, and this was the guy that started Century 21, this was the guy that started a whole bunch of hotel chains. Like, the guy's a multi-millionaire, and I'm the schlep walking around with the camera, but because of photography, like, you have to have made, I think it's $5 million as an entrepreneur to even be invited to this place. So I got to sit down stand for 2 hours and listen to this guy coach and mentor all these other millionaires.
Wow.
That's not something the average person gets access to, but because I'm getting paid a few bucks and I got a nice camera and I know how to use it, I get access to all this stuff. It's pretty cool.
You got free advice.
Well, question is,
exactly.
do you have a tip jar, Gabriel?
No, I didn't think about the tip jar thing. Yeah, that would have been a good idea.
Well, hey, I expect some of these tips to follow and trickle back into Daytripper Photo. I'm just saying. No.
One of the guy's lines was, he doesn't lend friends or family money. He gives it to them because lending it to them creates bad feelings, and his cap is $20,000.
It's actually Mark Twain quote. Not to come betwixt good friends except for money.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Well, luckily we don't have to worry about that with us because, you know, Daytripper doesn't really make any money, so don't have to worry about splitting it. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, All right, so thanks, Gabe, for that. That was cool. Let's
Thank you,
get
Gabe.
a little bit of what we're talking about tonight, okay? So we're talking about retouching. We're talking about taking a photo that you've made and saying, okay, this isn't quite right. How can we change that? There's a lot of things you can do. Based on that, though, like Navi, we also have a really cool thing coming up, our wedding class. A lot of people think that there's crazy retouching for wedding photography, but you know what? You and Gabriel are both wedding shooters, and from what we've heard already, it's not really heavy on the over-retouching. It's more just getting rid of blemishes and making people look their best.
It depends, though. I mean, some people do a lot more processing, so it just depends on your style and the look that
That's true.
you have, right? Some people want that kind of thing, where you have these crazy dramatic backdrops and skies and stuff like that. So everyone has a different style. It just happens that Gabe and I don't do anything that's really, I don't know, for us, like unnecessary. Like if there's something that needs to be removed, like a random camera bag in the background, then yes, we'll take that out. But like Gabe said, we don't like changing the person's face. Like if you have a mole or a beauty mark somewhere, I'm not gonna take it out. It's part of who you are, so I'm gonna.
And there's different reasons for retouching as well. Like wedding is one thing, and you're going to get into how to edit wedding photos at our wedding session on the 15th of February, which is awesome. I can't wait for that. But that's not necessarily what Remy's doing. Remy sets up photo shoots and has this world in mind that she's trying to create, and we're going to get into that. Folks, so remember, we have a lot of cool things going on with Daytripper Photo. Check us out at daytripperphoto.com. All of the new things coming up, including the Photo Expo. It's already on the website. This Photo Expo is 2 days in September where we're going to be just having a great time with instructors from all over the place. I'm in regular contact with Dave Black now, who's coming up to teach at it, so that'll be awesome. I can't wait. And if you like our show, click like if you're watching us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel and share this with your friends. Let people know that we're doing the show because we've been doing it for a while now, and you can see that viewers are starting to go up a little bit, but the more people that know about it, the more benefit there is, the bigger the community grows. So much fun. Can't wait for everything that's going on this year. Can you tell I'm a little excited for 2015?
Like your head is going to explode.
I know. Oh, I just scared my cat. My cat's on my lap here. I just did this, and she clawed into my leg. Jeez, I gotta be careful. So yeah, do all that. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube and all that cool stuff. Join the community on Google+. There are some really cool activities that we put out there for those folks. And ow, sorry. I have a pencil I'm waving around. She likes the pencil. And a big thank you, of course, to LensPen, our awesome sponsor. I mean, these guys are awesome. Do you guys use LensPen like Kleenex, like I do? If you have to clean your lens, get a LensPen.
Freaking love my lens pen.
I feel like I have too many now. Everywhere I look, every bag I look, there's a lens pen in there.
My problem is every day trip I do, or every time I'm talking to a customer, I'm just like, oh, you don't have a lens pen? Oh, here. Yeah, take mine. You clean your lens. So, yeah, lens pens are awesome.
It's nice, and it's not overly expensive.
It's so true.
So then you can just kind of hand them out as they are.
Well,
I'm photographers myself. I've got 3 in my bag. I hand off 2 by the end of the week.
Really? That's awesome. Well, I'm lucky. I'm sponsored, so I can get away with this.
I love them. But it's like I have a lot of people who want to ask me what I'm doing or how they come across clear, and it's like, well, here.
I think I'm going to get lens pens with Daytripper Photo on it, so I can just, like, there you go.
Awesome mode everywhere.
Ow, jeez, this cat is vicious.
Then I would get sponsored.
Well, the reason they sponsor us is because the show reaches out to so many people, and the opportunity for folks to win a lens pen for our photo challenge is pretty awesome. So this week we're giving away a lens pen with a screen cleaner, and it's going to be pretty sweet for the first place for our photo contest, and we're going to get to that in just a second. Why don't we just get right into that? How about that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Potatoes. Do it.
Do it. All right, so the meat and potatoes. Let's talk about this. First time I met you, Remy, I mentioned this earlier, was on a Muskoka wildlife session, and it's like such a disconnect from what you normally do. From your photography, from the work you do, to the trip that we were on taking pictures of wolves, like where's your passion? What do you find is the most interesting thing in photography? Do you like shooting wildlife? Are you into landscape? Or is it all about portrait and surrealistic portrait kind of stuff?
I love portraiture, and I love surrealism when it comes to portraiture. But I am a huge fan of landscape and nature. That's how I started.
Well, I can tell. I mean,
wildlife photos. Did I tell you that I'm actually in the middle of a National Geographic contest?
No, tell me about that.
Yeah, they did a selection of photos, and I entered some of the photos from the Muskoka Wildlife Center. And
Wow.
one of the photos that I did, it happened to be of Yeti the lynx,
Right?
is being considered for their photo.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Nice.
Thank you.
That's really cool.
It's been really nice. Like, I got it from going to a Daytripper photo session, and it was amazing.
I'm
When
really
you
not trying to
find out the-
distract, but...
When
Sorry,
do you
go
find
ahead.
the results?
Sorry?
When do you find out the results for the National
Oh,
Geographic?
not until the end of March. Yeah, I still have to wait for them. But there's 3 of us, and then we have to set, and then they're doing the voting as it comes.
Cool.
I'm really excited. Really excited, actually.
Well, you got to let us know how that works out.
Yes.
Very cool. All right. This cat is crazy. I'm just going to put her down for a second. I've already been stabbed a couple times there, Shell. There you go. All right. So before we go any further, let's just dip into the Q&A. And remember, guys, the Q&A app is open. If you have any questions for us, if you just want to say hi, within the Hangout that we're in, along the left side, about third or fourth option down, is something that says Q&A. If you click on that, you can ask us questions. You can give us your stories. Let us in on what you're thinking. If you have a question for Remy, go ahead and post it. You'll get a reply right away. And speaking of which, let me go down this list here because there's actually been quite a few comments already. Heather, hello. Good to see you. And greetings to you, Don. And he is glad to see you are feeling better. Don H. says he's glad to see you're feeling better, Remy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm definitely feeling better. Thank you so much.
Cool. Robert says hello, Remy. Robert Schindelheim is a regular submitter for our photo challenges. You'll see some of his work in a few minutes. Let's see, what's this? Dark Child says, Remy, if you could do a photo shoot with of any famous person alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Thomas Edison.
Oh my God, that is such a good answer. Okay, but why? You gotta fill that one in.
Oh, well, Thomas Edison was kind of, I live by the words be Edison. I've even created backdrops for my desktop for my computer, be Edison, particularly because of the fact that Thomas Edison, the American inventor and businessman, he was a shameless self-promoter.
That's accurate.
It may not be as life-changing as his, but it's a reminder that self-promotion is okay. And instead of giving someone your phone number and like letting them into their phone digitally, you hand out a business card and talk about your work and your art and your livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Like the fact that your creations and your work and what you're doing, everyone around you knows your livelihood. And Thomas Edison was a shameless self-promoter and was always talking to people about himself. As awful as it sounds, but maybe not himself, but his work.
So it's interesting because my person that I'd always want to do a portrait of would be Nikola Tesla, and you know, Edison kind of stole everything from Tesla, so you know.
I know, right?
You never know. It's funny.
No, I love that idea. I really, really do. And it would be amazing to do like a joint piece. I like Thomas Edison because he was a shameless self-promoter, whereas Nikola Tesla was not.
No, he wasn't, and that's why he's not known like Thomas Edison.
And Tesla didn't electrocute an elephant to death.
That's from the peanut gallery. Yeah, you know, there's so many debates. It's funny, the Tesla versus Edison. There's always been a bit of a conversation there.
Okay, I'm not behind his whole electrocuting animals thing.
Okay, that to clarify.
There are certain things that I like about him and certain things not so much.
Fair enough. The same thing goes with Gabriel, right? What? I'm just kidding. I'm only kidding. Expecting him to chime in here. No, he's just sitting there going, I'm hurt. I'm really hurt.
I'm pouting.
I'm pouting.
I'm
Exactly.
pouting on mute.
Sorry, Gabe. I'm kidding. All right, let's get back to the Q&A. I thought I had a morning when I woke up and everything was perfect, but then I realized I was still asleep. This is Michelle. Yeah, going back to Gabriel's reference about how we all wake up. When we wake up, sometimes we're feeling perfect. Stan's watching us today. Stan says, hello, everybody. Stan Yavorsky. He has a studio on Main Street in Newmarket, and
Oh, really?
yeah, if anybody needs some studio space, or if you're looking to rent out a room for studio space every time, check out Stanislav Yavorsky. He's watching our show right now. Excellent guy.
Where's the studio, Stan?
It's just right on Main Street.
Like, I'm always on Main Street and I don't see it.
Actually, Stan, if you can post in the Q&A the actual address, I'd get that out there for you.
The link, because like I live just down the street from you, and I've never seen your studio space.
Well, there you go. Learn something new every day.
Right? I love it because I have a lot of photographer friends, and sometimes I'll put out my studio for closer friends. But at least if you have studio space, that's amazing.
We were thinking about renting it for some of our sessions as well. Gabriel and I stopped by there a few times to check it out. Unfortunately, Stan's such a busy guy, he wasn't there when we stopped by. So we never actually got in to check it out. But apparently it's for like 5 to 10 people or so. And it's a little bit small for some of the sessions that Daytripper's running right now. So, but in the future, you never know. I mean, the guy's just a great guy. So,
Stan, add me to Facebook.
Cool, do that. Make us a little comment here, Stan, if you can, and we will post out where it is. Joseph Leduc says, I do a lot of retouching on wedding photos, depending on the wedding couple. Most young people aren't into image manipulation, and they actually know something about Photoshop. He does a lot of love stories, soft selection, diffusion, and black and white.
Yes.
Black and white. I like the black and white.
Yeah, definitely. And
soft diffusion is a huge hit right now, and I think that's because of Instagram, to be honest.
Yeah, the effects built into the software.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people are into the soft diffusion because of Instagram, and it doesn't surprise me at all. I think that it's absolutely beautiful, and I think the reason why is because it gives it a very dreamy quality, or a surreal quality.
It definitely does, and you know that's kind of how all your themes are and so on. How do you come up with the themes for your photo shoots? Like the Sin City thing, where did that come from? I know it looks pretty cool, but
I think we should show a photo so people can get a better idea of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, if you've got one of your Sin City shots handy, that would be fantastic. I didn't tell you to prepare for that, did I?
Hold on, I can see if I can.
That's okay.
Get it.
Yeah, we could probably pull it up on Google+.
I have a Sin City shot somewhere around here, or someone. I'm not going to be able to do it fast enough. I come up with my themes like everywhere. It's whether it be from pop culture, movies, songs that you hear, a set of lyrics, or simply by being inspired by fellow artists. It's not to mimic their art, but to take their art and modify it to yourself. And as awful as it sounds, I think it's Pablo Picasso who says, a good artist borrows, a great artist steals. Side note, please don't steal art, we'll know. just saying.
There you go.
We'll know. We will know. They were all very simple pieces when it came to the Sin City pieces. The Sin City series I fell in love with the very film noir style series by artist Frank Miller. He created graphic novels, and it contains 7 graphic novels, starting with The Hard Goodbye, and it finishes with Hell and Back. If you haven't read it, I definitely suggest that you do. Shortly after, in 2005, there was a Hollywood movie called Sin City. However, the first Sin City movie, it ended on The Yellow Bastard, which is only 3 books in, and there's still 4 left. And I left a large chunk of the stories unfinished. And I was really frustrated because I loved both the graphic novels and the books, and the second movie in 2014 when it started to come out. And in my delight at hearing the news, I got 3 of my lady friends together, and we got drunk on laughter and moonshine, quite literally. And we took the initial photos that I did outside of anything, no clients involved, and created the first 3 Sin City-inspired images. And after sharing the finished product with the world, we had such an animated response that I offered them publicly to the clients.
Neat. Well, I know at least one person who you've done a Sin City photo of, and that's Tim Kennedy. And Tim,
yes, that's right.
He absolutely was over the moon with the work that you did for him. You know, it gives confidence. It gives people a different vibe, a different feeling about themselves to see them in this kind of environment. So that's one of the reasons that I asked you to be on the show is you take a photo of Tim. Tim is a very tall guy, and he sees this photo, and you make him look so powerful, and there's a shot of Blake there I see as well.
Oh yeah, it's Blake.
Yeah. There's Blake, and then you have some of Holly Clifford, Ron Clifford's daughter.
Yes.
There's so many.
Is that who, I think I've shot her before, actually, for a hair salon.
Oh, is that right? That's not Holly there, is it?
Okay. I don't know.
Holly is in the Eva Green pose. She's right there, slightly to your right.
Yeah, just the separate with the pistol in her hand.
This girl here?
Oh, that one.
That is Holly, right there, the one you're on. Yeah.
There she is. Awesome stuff. You do good work. Robert says, check your Facebook. You have a lot of stuff on Facebook as well. That's awesome. Gary asks a question. He says, what order do you do your retouching if you have one? Color, skin, collage elements, removing wires, etc. Like, do you have a specific order how you go about it?
Levels. Start with levels. Always start with levels. Start with the levels to attune finite details. If I'm at too low a setting, then I can't alter the photo the way that I need to. And it can't be a part of the piece. So levels first, and then skin. Skin needs to be one of the biggest parts. Whether I need to smooth it out or alter slight details, or if somebody's got like the double chin thing going on because they're leaning too far back. So it'll be slight body modification, not necessary 90% of the time, but it'll be like if somebody's kind of like leaning forward like this, this little bit of skin will fix that.
So I know a lot of folks who are doing portraiture and so on, they'll try and correct those things before they shoot. They'll pull the chin out, they'll have posing techniques for that. Is your system a little bit more flexible in which you can, just ask somebody to get in there, you get the angle you're looking for to match the background, and then you just work with it from there? Is that the idea?
I think a lot of times when we first started setting up, I want you to be in the right position right off the bat, but if we're not capable of that, if you can't get into the position that my brain, I know this sounds funny, but the way that I need you in a position for your body to be in that position with the lighting and the right point, you end up with a double chin or something like that, I can fix that afterwards if necessary. But the body movement is more important.
Right.
So even if you end up here, and instead of your chin being out like it should be, it ends up here, then I can fix that if need be. But the reality of the situation is that I want to try and do as little editing as possible when it comes to the body. I want you to walk in, be yourself, and edit as little of you as possible outside of light sourcing.
That makes sense. Any time saved in edit is money gained, right? So.
How much do you like the phrase, oh, you can just fix that in Photoshop, right? Is that your favorite phrase?
It happens all the time, especially because people know what I'm capable of nowadays.
Right.
That now it just becomes this, like, but you can fix that. And I'm like, yeah, I can, but I'm just supposed to be taking photos of you guys.
But then there's the legitimate question, the legitimate reason for that to happen, the example that you gave about the young lady who got elbowed in the face or something.
Yes.
Tell us about that. Oh, before you do that, though, Stan has given us his answer on where his studio is. His studio is located at 474 Botsford Street, Unit 201. It's just aboard Haven.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah. So
you probably know where that is.
That's your studio. There you go.
That's fabulous. I actually know exactly where that is.
All right, so go ahead and tell us now about that. There it is.
Yes, it is. So
okay, now you've got to tell me more about this app that you're using, because that is pretty cool.
Excellent. Pretty cool, right?
Spell that for me.
Screen setting, but I didn't have time to do it in advance. This is a screen setting where we had a fat lip in the original image, and you can't really tell from the angle that she's at, which is why it was the easier to edit. But it was a fat lip.
Yeah.
And she ended up coming into the studio. She got elbowed in the face by her brother by accident. And what ended up happening was she was going to cancel. She was going to cancel. And just because of the aforementioned fat lip. And she really did want to overschedule. And to put her at ease, I told her not to worry about it, that I was able to fix it. And by using a series of tools, like the liquefy tool, the healing brush, as well as hand painting with my my Wacom tablet in the finer details, She was sure the shoot would be for not, but I suggested that we find some boxing gloves, and using some makeup, we completed the look of that of a boxer and gave her a black eye, and
Nice.
Nice.
we used it to our advantage.
That's fun. I love that. And there's so many different fun twists to photography, so many different ways that you can roll one thing into the other. One of the things that I'm really getting into right now is working with fire in photography. And you've got one shot of a guy, the man in the Phoenix photo. Okay, you've got to share this shot. You've got to explain an outline of what's happening here, because this is a really neat
I can definitely do. The Phoenix was a little bit of a pain in the butt. I'm gonna be honest. My client, he either wanted to be the Phoenix. Ooh, sorry, I missed it. Give me 1 second.
No problem.
He wanted to either be the Phoenix or have a Phoenix around him. It was really important to him, and it worked out okay.
Yeah, just a bit okay. That's pretty awesome. I mean, I've been doing some light painting lately, and I've been trying to get this effect of waterfalls by using the light in a long exposure shot. How did you get the flame and all that kind of stuff swirling around? I mean, the photo, the position of the guy itself is very powerful, very strong, but the fire weaving throughout the shot, that's just a completely different thing.
Liquify tool is definitely one of your leading friends there, as well as going into Photoshop, choosing Edit, going to Transform, and into Warp.
Okay.
Warping the dropped flame. So instead of just using your basics, what you do is you take your flame, and it's going to come into the crop, and then it'll warp. So instead of being like, you're going to turn it this way or that way, it's going to go, you have control over it, and you can go,
So you can bend it.
yes.
Interesting.
And it'll bits and pieces of it, and your warp tool comes through your Edit, Transform, and Warp. And it's amazing. Amazing.
For this photo, did you have an idea of sort of the background first before you shot it, or the other way around? You kind of shot it first.
Had the foreground first.
Okay.
And what is the foreground?
The gentleman in the Phoenix versus the background, which is the lava and the mountains.
No, I mean like the lava and all that. How did you create that? Is that all just warping that? Like you had to start off with an original image of some kind.
Which was the man kneeling. That was
everything else is just added through digital.
Hand painted.
That is very cool.
Cool.
Gary Monroe's watching. He says, "Thanks for the info. Remy's work oozes awesomeness, quote unquote."
So does the lava.
It does, yeah, for sure. Awesome. All right, well, thank you for sharing that. That was a great shot. And don't forget, guys, if you're watching right now and you have any questions for Remy, please feel free to use the Q&A and ask. Now, we were talking earlier about marketing, how you loved, you loved Edison because he was a brilliant marketer. How do you get your work out there? Like, what is it that you use to market yourself?
Myself.
Sharing your photos and having people pick up on it?
I live by the words be Edison, which I know that I said earlier, but I mean, honestly, the easiest thing to do is to keep a set of business cards on you. Talk about your work, your art. This is your livelihood. Make sure those around you know it. This is your livelihood. Share it with everybody. The people around you. Share it enough so that you annoy them, even.
Oh, trust me, I get that.
Just a little bit. Just share it enough so that you're actually kind of obnoxious, and be aware that business cards are not only going to help you pick up the ladies, but pick up business. I had a guy ask me earlier on this week, a client. He was like, I got brave. I went out with a girl, or I went out to the bar, and then I wanted to talk to a girl, and I bought one girl a drink, but she didn't respond to me. And I was like, you know what? Forget that. Start talking to a girl, don't buy her a drink, say what's up, and when she asks who you are, say your name, and then hand her a business card. 2 fingers, business card.
That's all it takes.
Be nice, be polite. Slowly but surely, you're going to become charming. Just take time. you're going to be great. Honestly, it doesn't take that much. Just start putting yourself out there. When I first started with photography, I was extremely nervous. I don't like being around people at all. They drive me nuts. You suffer from extreme social anxiety. The more I got into photography, the less I suffer from social anxiety.
You know, you are not the only person I know who feels that way or who is that way. There's a lot of really successful, amazing photographers and artists in general who, you know, really come out of their shell through their art and through their work, and photography is no exception to that rule for sure.
Yes. And honestly, if it wasn't for it, I don't think I'd be where I am today. Like,
you hear a lot of like performers who, you know, when they go on stage, they're super out there.
Different person.
Yeah. And then when they back off, they're just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. They're super shy. But it's kind of like once you're in your element, you know, you kind of forget about everything else and go and do it.
And I am completely behind you 100% on that, because sometimes when people are like, come out, do this, and I'm like, no, I'm tired. And they're like, you just did like 4 photo shoots, and I'm like, yeah, long day, I'm tired. And then other times I'm just like, when it comes to photography, I will stay up late and I will talk to people and I will hang out with people and do anything. But once that's out and off the table, and they're just like, all right, we're going to go out and celebrate somebody's birthday. We're going to celebrate your birthday. I'm like, now I'm done.
No, I totally get that. I mean, it's your comfort zone.
Yeah. And
Everybody has their
photography
comfort
brought me
zone.
out of my regular zone.
That's awesome. And, you know, we were just talking about Tim a few seconds ago, and he just chimed in.
Tim.
He just messaged me privately, and he says he's watching from work. He can't get onto the Q&A, but he wanted to say hi to you and say hi to everybody as well. Tim actually helped us shoot wrestling on Saturday.
We're going to a hockey game this week.
You and Tamar?
Yes.
Oh, very cool.
Well, next week, sorry.
We'll have a good time.
Probably shouldn't have said that out loud.
You're going to get haunted now. Okay, so tell me this. How does one get their work in Vogue Italia?
Okay, well...
How does that happen? I mean, I'm sure, Navi, you've been published. You're in Wedding Bells right now.
I want to hear about Vogue Italia, man.
I know, right? But how do you make that happen?
It was suggested by a model friend of mine who was actually, she was a model. She was the first model and the last model I've ever paid to have in my studio. I really, really like this girl. She was beautiful. I've been watching her for 2 years before I even became more serious in photography. And when I got more serious, I asked her prices. We went and got her and brought her back to the studio. I paid her, paid for dinner, and then drove her back. It was an intense kind of experience. I've never paid another model since, and I probably never will.
Interesting.
Just because the original amount that I had paid didn't actually end up being the amount. But she's amazing, and now we're friends. Right? But she's
that human factor.
She was like, your work's great. I think you should try for this. So you're only allowed to submit 2 images, 2 photos at a time. And I couldn't really think of what was Vogue-worthy, because I don't really feel like any of my work is Vogue-worthy, because it's not in that style. Does that make any sense?
The perceived style, maybe.
Exactly. Vogue has a very, very, very strict perceived style of photography. So I just chose one of my favorite photographs, one of my favorite very simple portrait photo pieces, which happened to be a simple black and white photograph of Brian C. Kimmons. He's a gentleman who was born in 1934 and was a Canadian veteran. And he was a complete sweetheart, just absolutely lovely.
Have you got a copy of that handy by any chance?
I do.
And it's interesting, you know, we talk about the perceived thing of what Vogue would want in their magazine, and Joe LeDuc pipes up. He says he enjoys your art pictures you create. You create wonderful images and images of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And, you know, that kind of relates to your big, bold work, but even the photo that you're sharing right now, it definitely holds true. I mean, here's an ordinary man who did extraordinary things by fighting in the army and doing his service for the country. How did you meet this gentleman?
I actually met him during a karaoke session at Wild Wings. He was wearing a white fully white pimp suit and a white pimp hat.
Nice.
For the Halloween before last. That's how I met him, and we had a nice long conversation, and when he needed to go home, he was waiting for his cab, but he had I think, about 4 or 5 glasses of wine, and then he was concerned that he wouldn't make it back, so I walked him out, and I stood there with him, and we leaned together, and I made sure that he got out of the car, or that he got into his cab. And then after that, I used to run into him quite regularly. And I walked him to his cab on odd occasions. And he asked that we do a portrait session because he wanted A, something to leave his children, or his grandchildren, and B, something that he could use on the dating websites.
Attaboy. Nice.
And this one photo was actually... I just snapped him unaware. It was actually part of the light props. Like I was just making sure that my lighting was right.
Right.
And I caught him unaware in his gear, and he seemed lost in thought, and that's the photo.
That's a great portrait.
Did they do like a story on it? Was it used as part of like a story of some sort?
No, they just took it and they used it.
Cool.
Very nice. Well, congratulations.
The mission with Vogue Italia is the fact that then when you submit them, they have the rights to your photos.
Right.
Which sucks, but at the same time, you still have the opportunity to say, hey, it was Vogue Italia.
Mm-hmm.
Which I got the opportune moment to say, hey, it's Vogue Italia, but at the same time, they have no understanding behind the story at all, or why it's there.
Right.
Which is a little bit bothersome.
Well, that would be Ansel Adams magazine, probably. That would be more caring about that. Aperture magazine, but...
Well, I'll have to check for Aperture this year.
Yeah, those aren't necessarily the photos I would watch.
On the cover of a magazine this year. I got 9 magazines last year in 2014. I'm aiming to get onto the cover of one in 2015.
You can do it. Your work is awesome.
I never did magazines at all before, and I randomly decided to start submitting work to magazines, and the first one I got in was Vogue Italia.
That's not bad.
Anyone can do it. Honestly, it's a cakewalk. You just have to keep trying.
You just gotta find a magazine that sort of there's sort of, you know, each magazine sort of has its own, you know, look or theme to it. So when you're submitting your work, you want to make sure that what you're submitting coincides with what they're looking for.
In the style.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just it. I never thought anything that I had was Vogue-worthy, so I just took a simple black and white photo that I had, because nothing else I have is ever going to be.
No, you can't say that. You can't say that. One of the things I always tell my customers is the minute you start telling yourself stuff like that, the minute it becomes true.
I think it's because I saw their previous submissions. So it's more reading the crowd, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
It does. But you should still keep doing it. Still
yes, definitely.
Don Hennessy, he pipes up and he made a comment a few minutes ago. He says, as to the social side and comfort zones, that's likely why we are on this side of the camera. It makes sense, eh? But then again, I mean, you have those social issues on both sides of the camera. I mean, look at Robin Williams and so many other people.
I understand entirely. I used to be on the other side of the camera. I used to model when I was younger and much thinner.
Well, yeah. You know, that's the... How did you get into modeling? I just have to ask, like, when you were younger and thinner, how did you get into modeling? Was it your family that put you in that position, or did you want to do it?
Just me.
Okay.
Just me. Just wanted to be that person.
Very cool.
I wanted to be a part of that. And I thought it was amazing, and it's not that it's not amazing. I think it was... I knew a girl when I was younger who was in modeling. She made good money. She was a pretty face. And it helps, you know, pays the bills. But even when I was modeling, I was more curious about the instrument that my photographer was holding.
Well, speaking of that instrument, what do you have in your kit? What do you use? Yeah,
In my kit, 2 lenses, extra memory cards, 1 extra battery, a Nikon D7000. Excuse me, a Nikon 7000, not D7000. Sorry. Oh, and a lens pen.
Wait a second. Well, lens cool. But not a D7000?
I have, sorry, a Nikon 7000.
D7. It's digital, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I just thought maybe you were shooting film, like an old film thing.
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh, do you shoot film?
I love film, yeah.
Navi's still, well, you're not shooting film right now.
Pressing.
Well, that's more for me. It's more for me. I can't shoot it when I'm with my clients.
Yeah, I guess you need to have that.
You can't. You have to have the options in front of them immediately. We've become the instant gratification society.
Isn't that the truth?
They need to see it right off the bat. They need to see the photos. They need to see the alterations that can possibly be made. There's nothing that you can, like, you have to be digital when it comes to clients these days.
Mm-hmm.
Film is for myself. I have an old Nikon FA, FM. I have a Nikon F. I have a series of film cameras, but nothing I can use for personal, like for business.
Yeah.
But
it's a different world now.
Clients, I have a D7000, a D800.
Ooh.
Yeah. I used to have a D60, but I also have the D700 and the D70.
All good cameras.
They call them the Trinity.
Well, they call them awesome because they're Nikon, but that's a different conversation for another day. So that's awesome. Thank you so much. For everybody who's watching right now, if you have any other questions for Remy during the show, please feel free to pipe in and let us know what you're thinking, what you want to share. If you have any questions about examples of different things that you might have done for your own photo retouching that you might want to tip on, go ahead and feel free to share that as well. We're going to move on to our photo challenge. It's about 20 after 10 right now, so if we get into our photo challenge, we should be done by about 1 a.m., which would be nice. It's not that bad. Navi, I believe you are going to do a screen share for the photo challenge?
Boom. Done.
Boom, done. And Gabriel, are you even still with us? What's going on with you, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome.
Just cooling down the highway.
Have you got anything to add to the conversation so far, or are you just keeping us happy in spirit?
Just keep me happy in spirit. I've been enjoying the conversation as more of a spectator this week.
Awesome. Well, that's no problem. Thanks for even being here. I just think it's so cool. Like, if I were driving home from a job, the last thing I'd be doing is thinking I should be on a show. So, it's pretty awesome. All right, now, if you've got that up right now, I know, Gabriel, you probably can't see the photos, so...
No, it's ill-advised and also illegal, so,
yes.
you know,
Yeah.
probably not, you know, I'll be like, oh, that's really nice, ah! So, the highway's not that great right now, so...
Yeah, 2 ills while you're driving do not equal anything good, so... All right, cool. So Navi and I will go into this a little bit. Okay, so Remy, by all means, if you have something to add to the photo conversation, please feel free. I know before we started the show you seemed a little bit nervous about giving opinions on photos. You don't have to. It's okay. Navi and I are used to crushing people's spirits. So we'll take this one. All right, Nav, so why don't we start off with Marie's photo. So again, the photo challenge themes this week were repeat and 3-light setup. So repeat could have been anything you want it to be, and 3-light setup, again, that was our challenging photo challenge this week. And this one, Marie chose for repeat. So very interesting shot. What do you think, Navi?
I like it a lot. I'm wondering where it is. Looks like some, northern barren lands, but who knows? Could be Ontario.
It almost looks like Alaska or BC.
And just the mountains look pretty low for that. It's really pretty though.
Well, I like how there's 3 layers of ice. You get your foreground, you're in the middle there, and in your background there. So it works well with the theme.
Now, one of the comments that Marie made in her post was she was having trouble getting a good picture in flat light. Now, wouldn't that be soft light that we're talking about? Isn't soft light very good for no shadows and very...
Not necessarily. Flat light could be a little bit of too much light where we're only ending up with a situation where the light is so negative that it's not giving enough feedback, where we're ending up with less shadows than we should be.
So there's not enough contrast because you don't have that shadow and the texture from that.
So it's so clouded that it's so diffused that we're ending up with flat light.
Interesting. Oh, she mentioned this is in Collingwood. Thanks, Robert, for that.
Really? Collingwood?
Yeah.
Wow.
I said northern barren lands.
The barren lands of Collingwood. What do you guys think about the color of this? Do you find it a bit blue?
No, I really like it because it's kind of consistent.
I like the blue, but it seems like it's a very natural shade for where we are. It almost seems like it's supposed to be that way, that she literally walked into something that was supposed, like, it was just natural. She just walked into the setting and had to take that shot.
I think it's a good choice as well that she made it into a panoramic.
Yes.
Yes.
Really lends well for this kind of photo. Excellent stuff. Thank you so much, Marie. Great photo submission for repeat. The next would be Michelle's 3-light setup. Michelle's poor brother. She flashes this guy like crazy. Wait a minute, let me rephrase that. She takes pictures of him with flash quite often. He's
How do I remove this circle here? Oh, there we go. Okay.
He's such a good sport about it, too. Usually he's watching football, and she just comes up and starts taking pictures of him to practice her lighting and so on.
And he wonders why when he comes to Henry's, I'm like, hey, I know you. And he's like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
If I did that to my brother, I think I'd get punched.
I know, me too. I did get punched, and it wasn't even with a camera. So,
the last time I tried to take a picture of my brother, he punched me in the tit.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was so mad at him, I slapped him in the face, and he was like, stop taking pictures of me.
Or I'll do it again. Nice, nice, nice. Ah, you gotta love brothers.
He's also my older brother, so realistically, I'm just lucky that he didn't throw me down.
You know, I've got 7 kids in my family, and yeah, there are these stories for sure. Luckily, Michelle gets along just fine with her brother, so that's a good thing.
I don't understand that. You always hear about, like, I don't understand why your older brother was so mean. Like, what the heck? And I'm just like, yeah, I love him, he just doesn't love me. And they're just like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, I'm kidding. He loves me. We just fight a lot.
Brothers and sisters. The only brother,
right?
The only brother I really didn't have any problems with was my younger brother, and I'm his older brother, and I always said if I was ever the older brother of somebody, I would be nice to them. And
you would be awesome, right?
My little brother's awesome.
Older sibling to somebody, I would be awesome to them too.
Yeah, Blake says brotherly love, Remy, brotherly love.
Yes.
All right, back to Michelle's photo here. I love the lighting that you're working with now. It's very clean. It's very even across everything. The shadows are nice. There's very little glare even off the glasses.
Wait a minute. I have to ask. This photo that's here right now with the gentleman in the black rim glasses.
Mm-hmm.
That's the photo.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit! Excuse my language.
Yeah.
That is an amazing shot. It looks like something somebody would use for stock photography.
I've been talking to Michelle about that a little bit. I mean, she's really working hard on her lighting.
He looks so concerned.
Really improved. Like, this looks very, very natural. Like,
it does.
So,
wow.
Good on you, Michelle. This is your other brother, so when he comes in, I'll tell him too.
Yeah, Michelle just mentioned that.
I actually thought this was like an auto-fill photo. Like, it was just not supposed to be. I thought it was a stock photo.
You know, that's a tell. When you can use 3 different flashes and you don't really see where the light's coming from, that's a real tell that you're doing well with it. And I got to give you a lot of credit. I do have a question, though. Before I get to it, though, Blake wants to tell you, Michelle, that the hot sauce was awesome. We're the middle people here to get information from community member to community member. So just thought I'd pitch that out there. My question for you, Michelle, is focus. The focus. Navi, can you zoom in on the eyes for me?
Sure.
So what do we want in focus when we're making a portrait of a person?
The eyes are the soul to the window, yeah?
You got it. You should be able to just 2 fingers zoom in.
But his discernment is on his face. That looks amazing.
Zooming not happening here.
Okay, no problem. The reason I was asking is because if you zoom in all the way, you can see that the glasses and the face plane are in focus, but the eyes behind are soft. And this is the problem we have. And I think the reason that this happened is for two things. First of all, proximity and focal length. So you're close to him, you're zoomed in quite a bit. Even at f7.1, which was your aperture on the photo, the depth of field is still very shallow. And you can tell that because look at the back of his hoodie. You can see how soft
like
it
she's
is.
working with a 35.
I'm sorry?
It almost seems like she's working with a 35.
It almost does seem like it's a prime, right? Shallow depth of field. But it's actually a telephoto lens zoomed into 130 mil.
Oh, really?
that's the beauty of Google Plus. We can see all this information, and we can,
That's amazing.
decipher.
It's so funny because it definitely has the feedback of a 35. I didn't realize that it had a zoom lens on while she was actually taking the photo. I didn't know that.
So
I think his eyes are in focus. Because if you look at the depth of field where his here and his glasses, it's in the same plane. I think maybe he has dirty glasses. No offense, but I think his eyes are in focus, so you can't really tell it though through the glass.
I'm gonna have to agree with her, love.
If you look,
It has to do with the foggy glasses, which are making them seem like it's not. But his eyes are really crisp.
yeah, I think the are sharp because you look sort of in this plane over here. The focus is still pretty sharp. I wish I can zoom in, but I can't. It's not letting me do it.
yeah, I'm trying to open mine so I can.
If you want.
Let's hang on one sec here. Michelle, we are analyzing your photo correctly. Best as we possibly can here. All respect. Oh, Lori has a new photo for the 3-light setup I hadn't seen. I gotta love Lori. It's always at like 9:28 p.m. that she posts her photos for our challenge. So I make all my notes, and we go through the whole thing, and then, boom, there's a Lori photo. Hey, at least she's submitting, right? That's awesome. Anyway, you submit. It's
Tell me how you feel about that image. If you can click on mine.
Okay.
A little bit bigger.
Hang on, there we go. Clicked on yours. Why isn't it clicking on yours? There we go. Well, it certainly doesn't look tack sharp to me that close.
Hold on here. Going into this, so it's hard to tell. I think you have to see like the original file size here, but it does look quite sharp to me. Because even at the side of his glasses, sort of close to his eye here.
You see, that was my thought.
That it was focused on the side of his glasses, but not on his eyes.
That's right.
So it might not be even a half an inch closer would have been to his eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Side of his eyes.
I'm a picky dude. You know, people submit their photos for our critique.
It's okay. I'm picky with my own photography, so it's good to be picky with everyone else's.
That's right. And I love the fact that Michelle takes these photos because I know that she's taking these photos for the purpose of the critique, right?
Yes.
She's not just creating a piece of art that took her 12 hours to edit and composite, and then we sit here and say, "Brr, brr, 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 brr." So that's a good thing. So Michelle says, "Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it." And Blake, glad you enjoyed the sauce. I was aiming for the closest eye. How do you focus past glasses? Aha. So this is how you do it. You take your focus point and you move it to the eyeball, or manual.
Manual. Look for the light in the eye. See how even here you can see the little dot in my eye?
Yep. Little catch light.
That little light in my eye. Focus for that.
Be careful there. You're going to poke yourself.
So black. Look for the light in my eye. If there is no light in my eye, you need more light. Heads up.
Interesting.
That little dot in my eye, and the only time that you're ever going to be complimentary outside of that, if you're looking for a nice portfolio or nice photograph, most of the time you want to look for equal lights in both eyes, which includes this dot equaling that dot.
That's a good tip. I like how you're doing that.
It doesn't equal the dot, so if one dot is smaller than the other, then the lighting is too soft from one side.
Huh. Do you work with that rule there, Navi?
I've never really thought of it that way, so I'm curious now. I want to try that out and see what it looks like.
That's very cool. Nav, you're still screen sharing, just so you know. I guess you're doing it for the photo challenge. Good. Gary says he thinks the thickness of the glass is affecting the sharpness. I think that's actually true.
Yeah, and I can agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Eyelashes look sharp.
Yeah, it's true. Behind there.
You can see the rim around the outside, the frame, or the inside of the frame, how white it is.
Very cool. Well,
And
it's a great
you can
shot
see
and great
the
lighting.
left-hand side of his glasses there. You can almost see the indentation of his face on the left-hand side there.
That's right, the distortion from
They're
there.
so thick that they're causing distortion.
Very cool.
Something you should be aware of. If that happens, I definitely suggest you use a bounce. A reflection, a reflector disc.
Mm-hmm.
Use that so that you can bounce the light up and under the glasses without causing a shadow. Usually, I would suggest the gold one, particularly because of the fact that the gold one is softer. The silver light will cause harder shadows.
Very neat.
Yeah.
Good tip.
Sorry.
So, Michelle, I think you have a reflector now, so you'd be able to work with that. That's very cool. All right, so let's keep going on some more photos here. Which one do you have up there, Navi?
Ooh, nice.
All right. Go for it, Navi. What do you think of this?
I love this photo. It's such a good idea, and I love that she shows the whole progression. It was perfect for the theme, too, and I thought it was really creative. So, good job, Navi. Good job.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know, when we give these photo challenges, we're hoping that somebody will take the theme and twist it up a little bit and personalize it to the way that they think. And Tammy, she has a knack of doing that. She has a great sense of humor with her photos, and she always likes to think outside the box when she shares her images, and I love that. And this is just a great example. So she says in her notes that she set the aperture, she set the ISO, and I guess the shutter speed just fluctuated throughout the day. She took all these images and stacked them together, and this is for repeat. I think it's perfect.
Is Tammy here now?
I don't know if Tammy's watching right now. I know she does watch the show.
I just wanted to ask her, I know that it obviously took her the entire day to do it, but my curiosity was how long the editing process took her post the photos.
What that workflow could have been.
Yes.
Did she say she used a remote timer for this, or did she just think it?
I don't know. I'll have to check that.
I love that you can see little birds in this picture.
I know, in one of the shots you can see. Okay, so she says she's interested in how the light changes over the course of the day, so she repeatedly took the same image 12 times. The panels run from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. every 50 minutes. Fixed ISO 200, fixed aperture f7.1, and focal length is 38 millimeter.
What was the?
There's Tammy. She's here.
Yep, she is watching.
Sorry, what was the focal point?
I don't know what the focal point was, but her focal length was 38 millimeters.
Sorry, what was the focal length?
38 mil on a lens that's a 24 to 120, so it's not really zoomed in. It's still fairly wide.
Nice. Okay.
So, Tammy, the question is, how difficult was it to merge these photos together?
How long did it take you, love?
How long did it take you, love? Sorry, had to go there.
It's a beautiful piece, Tammy. Beautiful. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would honestly, I would buy this and have it up in my house.
Actually, I really like Joseph Leduc's comment. He says it's a wonderful way to explore changes of color and light over the course of the day. Well worth the time and effort. I agree. Very interesting. Well done, and thank you so much for taking that time to submit this. Okay, so here's her answer. She says, it took a lot less time to edit than to shoot. I didn't use a remote timer. It was a snowy day, and she just shot over the course of the day. She loves using Photoshop, though she's still pretty novice compared to us guys. Well, maybe not me. You do actually some more advanced
things. Would you mind asking
than I do.
her if she would add me to Google?
Well, there you go, Tammy. Look up Remy Darling and add her to Google+. And you guys can talk about some of your tips. All right. Tips, I said. Holy moly. After your brother comment earlier.
Repeated tips many times.
All right. It's okay. It's a late night show. We're allowed to talk like this. So Gabe is back with us again.
Nice. Very nice.
I'm back.
What's going on, man? Did you get in an accident and have to disappear?
No, it's just the highway got really bad for a while. Everybody's going like 40 kilometers an hour. Yeah, I think I'm just going to focus for a little bit.
Yes, focus the focus. That's a good idea. All right. Well, at least you're still with us. That's great. And
Yep.
Remy, Tammy says she will add you for sure. That's great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, so this is Robert's shot that we have here. Now, again, Robert has been delving into the world of light painting quite a bit. And just on a side note, on a squirrel here for a second, if you guys don't know about light painting or some of the things you can do with it, I really encourage you to check out Dave Black. His photography is spectacular. He is who I was inspired to learn light painting from. He's a Scott Kelby instructor. He does a lot of sports photography. He shoots for Sports Illustrated and so on. But his light painting training on Kelby Online is amazing and inspiring, and he's just such a cool guy to listen to. This is why I'm so excited that Dave is our keynote speaker for the expo that we have coming up in September. I just freaking over the moon. Anyway, just because I'm going to get to meet the guy and potentially hang out with him. You know?
That's amazing!
I'm so excited. So excited.
Your head's going to explode. And
Let me tell you right off the bat. Right.
Right.
You're the reason why I started with light painting.
Is that right?
Yes.
Well, what do you mean?
You're the reason I started with light painting because of the fact that I'd never even heard about it before. But it was a Daytripper. Little like fairy lake. You guys were going to be meeting and.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Light painting, but I couldn't afford to at the time then you guys were coming out, and I know that it's super affordable, but it didn't even have the pocket change to do it. And then I remember asking you about it, and you were still such a sweetheart. You still told me that I could modify it through specific, like 5.6, and it was nice.
It's all fun. Photography is supposed to inspire. It's supposed to get everybody excited and give people new ideas. And I love that Robert's taking these tidbits of inspiration and applying them to his photography. So what he's got here is, as much as I like the photo... Oh, Blake just says I had a Dave-gasm.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but I think it's true. Yeah. So, Dave Black, if you're watching right now, this is purely a platonic relationship that we have. It's okay. All right, so back to Robert's photo. I love that you're making the effort and you're making these photos, but this one's disqualified, Robert. Sorry. I just had to say. It's disqualified because this is a 3-light challenge, and you already mentioned in your notes this is a 2-light photo. So what am I supposed to do with that?
Just look at the picture and enjoy it, Brian.
I love the photo. I do.
He put his photo up here on the channel, so succession is succession.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? Your focus is great. Your exposure is awesome. I like how you've got the different colors from the light that you painted. We will talk a little bit more about cropping, because you notice the top of the plant is kind of cut off at the top.
I think I'd do with that if it was a little more lower down. A little tighter in.
Sorry, Gabriel, I'm just going to mute you, bud, because the road noise.
Oh, back from the road.
Sorry.
If you could do like a slight tilt from the cropping, and then bring in the right-hand side a little bit, and even though the top of the leaves aren't coming in from the bamboo stalk, I think that if we had brought it down a little bit and brought it in from the right side and kind of tilted slightly, we would have been okay.
So even emphasize the crop a bit more. Get rid of the tip that's coming back into the frame.
It's a great photo, though. I love the colors.
Yeah, it's really, really, really nice. Just being honest. Of course, I'm always being honest, Robert. That's how I roll. Actually, Robert's going to have a Dave Black moment as well. But he's going to be our official driver for the Photo Expo.
Really?
He's going to be getting Robert from the airport, or Robert. Robert's going to be getting Dave from the airport and taking care of him the whole weekend. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
That's amazing.
She's not in here. Sorry, my cat.
Hi, Robert.
Okay, love the creativity and imagination. I do too, and this is something that Navi and I were saying in the pre-chat ahead of time. It's nice to see. And this one as well. This is another shot by Robert. I believe this is also light painting. I'm curious, is this the actual chess pieces, the pawns that light up, or is this done with a flashlight where you've done it? Navi, you had something that you wanted to say about this.
That's what I wanted to know, if it was, like, because Brian, you mentioned it's might be illuminated pieces of chess, but it, to me it looks like it might be a light painted thing, but either way it's very cool, and I like it's good for the theme too. It's perfect.
And it's great focus and great exposure. I love the contrasting colors that you've had. Very neat. Anything to add on that, Remy?
I'm a little disappointed in the cropping.
Okay, explain.
I would have liked to see the reflection a little bit further, a little lower down.
So crop it down a bit so you can see what's in front.
We're missing the reflections, which are supposed to be the souls of the pieces. A little bit. I really do like the blurring behind, but I think that we don't need to focus as far up and make them in the middle of the thirds, as we can come down and make the top part. You know how they talk about being thirds, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Take the top part of the pawns in the last row, the top of the thirds. And then looking at the reflection would have been nicer, even if you moved them a little further on the board.
I do agree. That's a very good observation. Robert does say that it is not light painting.
Cool.
Which is amazing. It's amazing, which is good. Is it a slow photography? That's what it is?
I'm curious. Do the pieces actually just glow like they're illuminated?
It looks like it. Yeah. They're neat though.
No, I like it a lot. I'm just thinking that our cropping could have.
Yeah, I agree. And I think looking at the photo, it looks like the edge of the chessboard is right on the front edge of the photo.
Right.
So if you push them back into the chessboard a bit more.
Down for the reflection's sake.
Yeah, I agree.
It also makes me feel that the edge of the board is also telling me the fact that they're so close to the edge. It also feels like if we had just taken in the edge of the board, if not the full reflection, then it would have shown how close they are to death already.
That's a different twist.
If that makes any sense whatsoever. Like, even if we just got the edge of the board and the reflection wasn't entirely, if we just moved down a little bit and saw the edge of the board, then it would be like they're close to death. They're always close to death because they are the pawns. What
a different twist to the theme. That's something I think Robert's going to listen to and think, yeah, I should have thought about something like that. It's a completely different angle. And, I love how people's experiences bring out different creativity. From how you perceive life and how you perceive art in general, you draw interpretations from everything you see. So you can look at a photo with your history and your background and see something completely different than something that I might look at with my completely different background. I love that about art, and I love that about photography. And the fact that you just looked at this shot and thought of something totally different than what my brain is wired for. I love that whole concept about art. That's one of my favorite things. Beautiful. As my cat runs it.
Bill Nye, Bill Nye, right?
The science guy.
Bill Nye, the science guy. He says there's always someone out there who knows something that you don't.
That's right.
And that's why it's so important to talk to people.
And yet here we both are saying how much that when we're not in our comfort zone, we won't be talking to people.
I do. It was actually like a huge part in my New Year's. That was my New Year's resolution. To say
well, that's
yes.
good. Say yes?
Yes, man. Oh,
yes,
my
man.
God. It's put me in some really weird situations so far.
That could get dangerous. You got to be careful.
Oh, no. Anything that I don't feel safe with, I'm allowed to walk away from. But
$100. Yes.
Gotta say yes. All the time. All the time. Most of the time. As long as I feel safe or like I'm not gonna die at the end of this, then I have to say yes.
Good enough.
That's my big thing.
Robert says, thank you, Remy. Good advice. And Stan, yes, you should join us more often, Stan. You absolutely should.
Please add me, Robert.
Stan. Oh, and Robert? There you go. Everybody's going to be adding you after this.
We were just talking about Robert's piece, so it'd be lovely.
Very good. Now we're talking about Steven's piece. This dog, this cute little face.
God, hello, piece. Sorry.
Oh, my God.
Wow, that's ingrained.
So I want to know something. Like, is this a composite? Is it blacked out background? Or is it black background just from the lighting? Because if that's the case, that's really well done.
I think it's a black background or a dark background.
That's amazing. You can see the lighting source on the left hand side. You can see the lighting source on the right hand side coming from behind, and then you can see the lighting source from the right hand side as well.
My question though would be like, Nav, I shoot the portraiture of wrestlers and so on, and I use a black backdrop. And no matter what I do, I still have to spend 40 minutes just blackening up the black backdrop.
Right.
What?
So to get it shot this way, so that you don't have to do the edit, that's a technique that isn't easy for a lot of people.
Well, looking at the edges of the hair, and it might be
right.
Do a little like darkening of the background to make it black, but I don't think it's a composite because it's very. You see all the little fluff around the edges.
Exactly.
It's really hard to.
Yeah, it's finite. That's amazing. I love it.
Steven is watching right now, and he says, "Be careful, she's a killer."
You look like a Q-tip. Come on.
It's funny. In Florida, they call other things Q-tips. I have to go there now that I've said it. My mother lives in Florida, and whenever she's driving behind a car with an old person driving it, she says all you can see above the headrest is the tuft of white hair. So she calls the old people in Florida Q-tips, which I think is freaking hilarious. So yeah, Steven says that it is shot against a dark background and then blackened. Okay. All right. Is that just the black tool that you use and slide it down until it disappears, or do you actually do what I do, where you have to like mask around every little edge of every inappropriate human body part?
Elbow mostly.
The elbow. All right. Well, this is a cute little dog. So what do we see about this shot? Great lighting. I think it's a really cute, well done blackening of the background, because as you guys both mentioned, the little hairs, everything is still so defined and clean.
Yes.
Anything else to add on that, Nav?
It's cute. I like it. It's nice lighting. Like he did the 3 lights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can see lots of details. You can see the dog's eyes and its little fluffy coat, and want to pet it and braid its hair and whatnot. I like it.
It's not easy getting the light in a dog's face with
Well, I mean, especially shooting white on black.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's great.
It's very cute.
That is great. They've got the backlight, so the halo light, so you can still see the back fuzz across the top of the head. I mean, the fur on either side, including the fur on the fronts of the paws.
Actually, it's funny you say that. Joe Leduc, who is watching, also says that you can actually see edges of lighter black under the feet where it didn't quite go close enough. So I guess if you're really looking at it.
But I'm also going to state the fact that the black is a little harder than necessary across the, I want to say the left paw. So looking at the image from the left paw.
Okay. So it does sound like Steven, he makes a comment that it sounds like I do what he does. So we probably have to go through the same process. It is not fun. It takes a long time to sit and mask around and then erase.
Wonderfully, but losing the shadow beneath the body is what makes it look unnatural.
It stands out from it.
It does. It becomes a black imprint. As awful as it sounds, and I'm so sorry, but it does. It becomes unnatural because there is no give to the body. There's no shadow to the body. And under the left paw, it's not necessarily about definition, but I can actually see your brushwork.
Huh. Interesting. It's funny, I was doing a photo critique with Don Komarechka, and he saw one of my photos, and I could have sworn I had not edited it. And he just looked at it and says, okay, so you edit it weird, and this is done this way. And I was like, no, this is the one I didn't edit. He goes, oh, no, you can tell. You edited this one. And I looked back at my actual original. I was like, that is the one that I edited. Like, I thought I didn't, and he was able to pick it out just by looking at the shot. So when you tuned in...
Even if it's not edited, but there's some finite detailing done, like contrast or... the levels are done in a photo, it can make the surrounding environment look like it.
Mm-hmm.
So even the smallest details. So if it's not like a snapshot right off the bat, sometimes even a snapshot right off the bat can still end up looking like an edited photo, however unintentionally. I had a photo that I did that was completely unedited, and I got bitched out for it looking edited because I adjusted ever so slightly by 7 knots the contrast.
It bumps it up. It looks like you say, natural.
Yes, I did edit the photo. Even if I only edited it 7 knots, well, Gabriel!
Look, it's you. You're here.
Hi!
I'm here.
You're live.
It was a successful journey. And he still got the Tim Hortons. Lovely.
Made it alive.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here now in person, buddy.
That's my pleasure. Glad I could make it.
And maybe you can have a quick look through the photos and pick your choice for the winner of the week.
Maybe I could.
We're doing our review right now, and we have just a few more to go through, not too many, and then we'll be done for the night.
Okay,
cool.
okay.
All right, now, so you've got...
I'm holding us up, aren't I?
Who, you?
I am.
No, not at all. You're actually awesome. I mean, you were all worried about having to give a critique, and here you are pointing out awesome stuff. So.
No, that's not me being awesome about stuff. That's me being a tight ass.
And that's awesome. some categories. Anyway, before I get myself into trouble, Hallie Moore, this is a great shot you've submitted, and I haven't seen you submit too many for our photo challenges. This might even be the first one, Hallie. Hallie was on our Fire on Ice session, and it was great. A lot of fun out there doing the steel wool. A little bit chilly, but we got through that, eh, Gabe?
Yeah, no, I just like her photo when you asked for a three light setup, and it's a picture of 3 lights. I like that.
I know exactly. And even better, it's also repeat.
Yes, that's true. I just noticed that.
So you've got repeat and 3 lights. Now, this kind of goes back to your point, Remy, about the mirror, about the reflection all being in the shot.
I like.
There's everything there. And it's got different contrasting colors, some blues, some reds. Really, really cool. I liked it. Very well done. Anything to add, Navi?
It's just a little off kilt. A little bit. I'm always pointing this out, but it always drives me crazy. It's tilted just a little bit to the right.
Mm.
Whereas I'm gonna have to disagree. I like the offset of it because the right line actually leads into the middle of the photo shot. I think it's supposed to be offset.
Okay, are we talking about a little towards the left, or are we talking about literally crooked?
No. See that black line that leads down towards the mat, like right down towards the middle, which brings the light, the lantern, into the middle. It's the right line, that dark line that goes.
This?
Yes.
He's hanging a little.
So I might, and I'm saying might in a really light sense of the fact that I recognize and appreciate the corner, but that doesn't necessarily make it a piece. I'm going to say that yes, I enjoy the offset of it against Navi's not in the middle, but in the same breath, it pisses me off that it's not in the middle.
It's interesting. It generates a lot of conversation, and yes, it is the first one that Hallie has submitted. Oh, and by the way, Gabriel, Stanislav says, he says, make sure you remember to roll up the rim on your Tim Hortons cup.
Yes, but I only buy smalls, so you only get 1 roll up the rim instead of 2 that you get with mediums and larges.
Oh.
Everyone rolls up the rim.
You roll up the rims? I didn't even know that.
If you buy a medium or a large, you get 2 chances to lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of which, has Tim Hortons got rid of the Timbits yet?
What? That's not happening, man.
Is that just
they are. They're getting rid of them.
Are they?
I think it's a rumor.
It better be a rumor, because as far as I'm concerned, that's
like my favorite thing out of anything.
Wow. Let's move on. Let's not scroll too much.
You can take Target out of Canada, but you can't take our Timbits out of Tim Hortons.
Actually, it's funny. I was in the mall today, and I was talking to somebody about. Oh, I was in the the place where they sell all the candy. That's like they find it in Europe and the States and all that. It's all the weird old candies. Yeah, old time. I was in there, and they have Jif. They can get Jif.
Oh dear.
And they had Jif cereal there. So I asked him, I said, like, what's the deal? How come we can't get Jif, but you could get it through here? He goes, well, the American companies don't want to sell up here. And he says now, especially since Target's gone, there's all kinds of deals between America and Canada in retail world that are being dropped because Canada didn't support Target as much as they should, and now Target can't afford to buy all their product.
Bleep, Target.
I can't. I'm happy either way.
They're not a good company. They're a bad company. They want to overcharge the people who want to buy stuff. So even if you sell at en masse, then they're still going to charge for an en masse product. So they're still going to charge more money than they should for a product.
Well, I don't know about all that. I just know that.
I just had a friend turn around and he was just like, I don't understand why. And he worked for Target for forever. For like the last 2 years. And then he was just like, yeah, they overcharge for stuff and they just moved themselves in debt. And I'm like, okay, so what? I went and I bought Christmas lights from them for my last art show. I showed up to my fucking art show, excuse my language, I'm sorry, And when I showed it to my art show, half of the freaking Christmas lights didn't work.
Oh, yeah. Well, that, I think, is just a sign of the times. Product these days is made like crap. That's just a whole different
No, but like if you
conversation.
buy stuff from Walmart, everything works.
And at least you can, well, yeah. Walmart was first, and
Everything
Gabriel's
I
just
bought
shaking his
from
head.
Target,
Why are we getting into all this?
No, I just did some Googling, not to derail the conversation, and welcome to This Week in Everything But Photography.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons' new owner announced today they'll no longer be selling Timbits. They are, as a result of the cost-cutting measure of $23 billion company, but it appears they underestimated Canadians and their love for the bite-sized blasts of flavor. CBC is reporting that protesters have appeared at more than 20 Tim Hortons and Burger King locations across the country, and that hashtag Save Timbits. There's a war going on. Like, we are actually actively sending our troops into harm's way, and people are protesting about Timbits?
Yes.
Like, literally going out and protesting?
It's been a long time since Vietnam there, Gabriel.
This is why they hate us.
What are you talking about? This is why they love us.
Canada.
Fight over hockey.
Americans will,
freaking
boycott because of war, and Canadians will boycott because of Timbits. That's
why they love us, because we're easily manipulated.
Anyway, let's get into this photo.
I weep.
Sorry.
I weep.
You never know where the conversation is going to go on this show. Don H. says that Timbits disappearing was a false rumor on a bogus news site. Timbits still rule. Yeah, well, they're pretty good. They're tasty, all right. Little tasty balls of heaven. Marie, let's check this photo out. This was a very interesting shot that you made here. I've heard of people doing this. Gabriel, you have one of these photos, don't you? The little world picture.
Yeah. We're on which one we went?
Marie Richardson.
Down there. Okay, so that's okay. That looked like a kaleidoscope to me.
Mm-hmm. It did, but it's looks like a watch, I think.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So with my phone, I have an ability where I can take a total 360 panoramic, and actually any Android phone, you just download the official Google camera app, and you can take a 360-degree panoramic, and then you can also, when you're done doing that, you can turn it into what's called a little world photo, which creates a similar effect to this.
It's really neat. Actually, this is the Seguin steamship that she took a picture of last summer. Doesn't qualify for the challenge, unfortunately. I didn't get that either. So
I don't look at this and think steamship.
It's very neat. You see the sky, which is why I didn't think it was a watch, and then steamship. That's very cool. Anyway, very good stuff that unfortunately does not appear to be valid for this photo challenge. Bummer. So, let's see if we can look at Heather's photo. There we go. This is a really neat shot, and Heather used the mirror tool on this to create that repeat effect. Mm-hmm. The colors are so bold. Is that ice there in the back? Oh, I guess it would have to be. It's just really interesting. What do you guys think of the process that Heather used for this? Gabriel?
I like the mirror effect. You don't often see it used horizontally. You most often see it used. Sorry. Just that drive killed me. You don't often you see it used like that way. It's usually one on top of the other, right? Like you get a and it's usually used to.
I'm just laughing at your hands.
It's like usually you do it this way, right?
I know
it's
exactly
usually used to simulate like a reflection of a lake or something like that. You don't usually see it side to side. It's usually
right
above and below. And and I like the effect. I like how it was implemented here. I probably would have right in the middle at the top. I probably would have edited that out because that sort of kills some of the effect for me, the little V branches that sort of spawn out of nowhere. Besides that, it's a rather convincing effect that you would have to look closely to, verify that it's that, because there is sometimes, beautiful symmetry in nature, and you would have to look at it closely to see if it actually was manipulated. But that's sort of a little bit too much of a giveaway for me.
That's a tell for sure. Well, but it's a neat shot, and that's awesome that you submitted it. I'm having some wire problems here because my cat's chewing my cable. She likes to just jump up on my lap middle of the show and just sit there. She watches the mouse move around on the screen, the cursor. And then she attacks my cords. Sorry. Okay, so one more photo still to go, and that would be Lori's shot. If
oh, there we go.
There it is. Got to refresh that sucker.
Ooh.
I love this. It's a nice high-key photo.
It makes me spring. It does all hope.
You don't see enough of that this time of year.
Yeah.
So she used three light setup, overhead lights, 2 manual flashes, and a reflector.
Cool. I like that you can see all the little details. No crazy harsh shadows too much.
Great soft texture. Nice close crop brings attention to exactly what she's hoping to show. Very neat stuff.
I am not a fan of this picture because I didn't take it, and I wish that I had.
That's about all you can ask for, isn't it? Yeah, it's a really nice shot. Very clear. I'm curious about the halo along the back edge or the side edge of the rear flower. Is that just a part of the... Yeah, that exactly. Is that just a part of the flower, or is that an aberration caused by the lens?
Looks like it's aberration of some sort.
Yeah, but you also have blurring on outside of the left pedal.
I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Still happening on the left pedal there.
So maybe a chromatic aberration removal might help with that a little bit? Hard to say. It's hard to tell. I mean, when we are going by images that were shared online, and sometimes through the rendering process things can change. So if this isn't anything that you think is a problem, then obviously don't worry about it, and we are being fairly picky. But otherwise, great shot, and as Gabe says, it's one of those photos that we all wish we would take.
This is a stock photo as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mother's Day stock photo, Lori. Sell it up.
I wonder how many people in our community are actually submitting photos for stock.
No one.
There's like nobody in our group.
Honestly, if they were, then they wouldn't be talking to us because they would be making bling outside of us.
Yeah, I wish. Stock doesn't pay out what it used to.
Yeah, the bottom kind of fell out of stock around 08, I think it was.
Yeah. Well, very good stuff, and thank you, Navi. You did forget one, though.
I did.
Yeah, there was an awesome light painting somebody, I don't know, threw up there.
I'm on bed.
Oh, yeah, there it is. That's a good one.
Is that a film camera?
Yeah, it's an old Minolta camera. I was trying to set it up so that you can actually see the beams coming out from the flash and hitting the flowers.
You're echoing like crazy.
Who's got the echo going?
Show?
What's that?
I can't see it. Show? There we go.
It's not showing up for you?
No, it wasn't. Hang on, let me click. No, it won't let me click for some reason.
Weird. Well, I think the echo...
Oh, I found it! Alright, I got it.
Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
It's different.
Especially with the blue lights.
That's a light wand, fiber optic light wand. And I was trying to get the light shining from the flashlight directly on, and it was not working.
It looks like a glow stick. I love it.
Well, I don't use those yet. Yet. You never know.
You can actually cut them open, and like once you activate them, you can cut them open and just sort of maybe like drip it on stuff.
I know that you can. Side note, please don't.
Why?
Because it's not good for you.
Oh, that's almost enticing me to try.
I've already done it on 2 separate parts of a photo shoot. Not a good idea. After I did it the second time, I felt very sick.
Oh, no.
Not a good idea.
Good to know. Good
I
to
know that they say that you can and it's non-toxic, but don't do it because it actually made me feel quite sick. Not the first time I did it. You could probably get away with it the first time you do it, but don't do it the second time because it makes you feel sick. Like, I didn't get out of bed the second time. Not a good idea.
Did you eat it, or was it...
No, it was just on my body, like on my hands.
Oh my god.
It was on my hands when I was doing a shoot, and my model was the one who had it on their body, and she didn't feel well. She didn't get out of bed for like 3 days, and it was only on my hands for like 2 days, and I didn't get out of bed. And she didn't get out of bed for 2 days. I didn't get out of bed for a day. Not a good idea. Don't do it.
No, I won't. I promise.
Yeah.
You've convinced me. And Robert, I know I need new flowers. Those are the same flowers I used last time. They're fake. They'll last forever. Why not? All right. Okay, so that's it for our photo challenge. Great stuff. And Remy, you had one more question that just came through. And it was something, but I've cleared it. So where did it go? Right at the end there, he was asking what you want to do next, I think it was? Yeah, what do you want to do more of in the future?
3 years ago, I did my first wedding. The first wedding that I did, it was a wedding for a terminally ill woman. Her name was Leona, and it was kind of a charity event, coinciding with a Canadian charity group called Angels Anonymous. And they give last wishes. It's a Canadian group that gives last wishes to terminally ill people.
Nice.
Individuals. I did one of my very first weddings via this non-profit organization. And I would really like that myself or other people get more involved with this group, Angels Anonymous.
Okay.
To help them more. You know, and I love the fact that they were one of my first weddings, but I would also appreciate them being one of my last weddings. I would like to continue working through charities and through fundraisers to help people that really need that kind of thing.
You know, the more we can do for others, the better. One of the platforms of Daytripper is community support. So yes. I want to make sure that you help people where you can. Absolutely.
And I think that would be lovely. And Angels Anonymous is a great group to start with. And they're actually like angelsanonymous.com. They're lovely.
I will try and add that to our show notes.
They're amazing. And that's how I got started with weddings. I was originally like super anti-wedding. But so it's because of them.
Is that what you want to do more in the future?
Yes, definitely.
Cool.
I want to be more about the charity and the fundraising thing, and I want more of my photographers to be more aware of the fact that even if they can't afford it, sometimes there's people out there that need our help. Even if it's family portraiture or newborn photography, and we have so many people who are suffering from terminal illnesses, and we need to pay attention to them.
Navi, you shot for the, what do you call it, Help Portrait?
Yes.
That's similar in concept, isn't it?
Not quite. It's the Help Portrait. It's more about providing the opportunity to, have your portrait taken to those who, may not be able to afford it, or, because getting photography can be expensive. Once you pay for the print and the digital, a couple $100, and there's a lot. Sometimes for people, there's a lot more important things to spending that money on than having just a picture of yourself taken. And it's nice that people can have a family portrait to have in their house. So it's nice to have that opportunity. So it's a fun day.
And it's amazing that we're in the kind of business where what we do can actually bring a benefit to the people we do it for. Yeah. We can use our abilities and our skills as photographers to really help people out in so many different ways.
I already do the, for the families who are less fortunate, I already donate my time twice a year to make sure that they can get their photos done.
That's good.
but my donating time to the terminally ill with Angels Anonymous is one of my biggest things. I want to make sure that people around us are able to not just acquire these photos, but the fact that if they want to be, or if they want a wedding, then it's not just about us taking photos, it's about us making sure that everything comes to fruition for them.
That's awesome. Very noble of you, and keep up the good work. Absolutely. We need more people like yourself that go out of their day-to-day to help out people that need it, for sure.
Thank you.
And Robert says he'd love to learn more about getting involved with that as well. So maybe when you and Robert meet up on Google Plus or whatever, you can see if you can help out in that way. Beautiful.
That would be yes. So we're good.
We are. All right, so cool. Let's move on to our winners for this week's photo challenge.
Yay!
Because there are winners, and again, the winner of this week's photo challenge is winning the lens pen. Let's see if I have one right here, because, you know, I do.
Yay!
So the lens pen. This is the, go figure, right? I always have one. The Sidekick screen cleaner and lens pen. It was funny when we were
I love that one. It's the double-sided one, right? It's got the screen cleaner on one side and then the lens pen on the other.
No, it's two separate pieces.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yep.
Because mine comes on both sides. Like, I've got the lens cleaner as well as...
Well, there's so many different options from lens pen. There's so many different varieties that they make. This was pretty funny. I was at the camera, or I was looking through the photos from our last Camera Club meeting, and one of the gentlemen who submitted for the photo challenge had a picture of his camera. And on the back of his camera, the screen was just fingerprinted up, and it was like a stock photo otherwise, except for these fingerprints on the back of the screen. So I made a point to, in my photo critique of that photo, walk over and hand him one of the Sidekick cleaners because they're pretty handy. So anyway, the winner of the lens pen Sidekick this week goes to, and I didn't know if we had any sound effects queued up. Oh! Goes to Tammy's photo of the multiple shots in a single day. Great stuff, Tammy, and make sure that if you are up in Newmarket area, you stop by Henry's, and I'll make sure you get this. Or if there's another way I can get it down to you, I know you live down toward Toronto, please just let me know, and that tablet and lens pen is yours, tablet cleaner. Awesome, very cool stuff. And we have some photo challenges for this coming week as well, of course, because that's what we try and do. And Remy, you were gracious enough to give us some themes for this week's photo challenge. So maybe you can remind the world what the challenges themes are this week, if you remember them.
I was thinking bend.
Okay, so for the challenging theme this week, it's going to be bend. That'll be interesting.
Bend or bent?
Bend. B-E-N-D.
Bend. Okay.
That's right. And explain your philosophy behind this, because you had some neat twists to the theme bend.
Oh, well, the reality behind bend is the fact that it could be anything. It could be practicing yoga, or it could be the bend of water, like the bend of a river, or it could be the bend of a flower. It could be pretty much anything you see within your everyday life would be nice.
Nice. All right, so take that and roll with it, everybody. The theme bend is our challenging theme. And for essentials, water. I got you. So for the photo essentials challenge, we're going to go with water.
Simply because of the fact that it could be water or ice or steam.
Water's pretty sweet. You can do a lot with it, and it could be anything. And that's a good point. I'm glad you mentioned that because it could be ice too, and we've got lots of that around here. So
yes,
the photo essentials theme will be water, and the challenging theme is bend. And we really hope we see everybody submit some photos for the photo challenge this week. We had some great shots this week, as always. And thank you all so much for taking the time to make new photos for our photo challenges. Remember, they are for new photos only, not for older photos that you'd like to share. Although you are welcome to share anything you want, as some folks did this week, and they made a note. This is an old photo. We just wanted to share it because it's awesome, and it was. So don't forget, everybody, join the Daytripper Photo community on Google+. If you like any of the things that we've talked about on this show and you have something to add, please feel free to add it after the fact. If you're watching us on YouTube, click like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends. And make a comment on YouTube. We will get it, and we will see it, and probably will reply. Maybe nicely.
And side note, lens pens. You don't have a lens pen yet? You need one. I've got one. I know for a fact that Navi's got one. And so does Brian. We all need lens pens. Trust me. This is the opportunity to do so.
That's right. You can win your lens pen. All right. That was a nice plug there. And you're not even sponsored by Lens Pen. That's pretty sweet. Martin's going to be loving that one. Stanislav says, it was a pleasure to meet you all tonight. See you next time. Have a good night, and we'll see you too. It was great. I'm glad you stopped by the store the other day because you keep in touch, man.
Oh, side note, I'll totally be in. Are you working tomorrow?
Who, me?
Yes.
Yes, I am working tomorrow.
Right. I need to find some bulbs.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes.
I'm in 12 to 8. I'll see you then.
Perfect.
And for everybody else, Navi, tell us a little bit before we say
goodnight. It was such
goodnight.
a pleasure to meet you.
Same to you. I guess I might see you tomorrow. I'll be in as well. Tomorrow
Awesome.
Evening, so.
But I need, Tammy, you're welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Navi, you and Gabriel both, I need you to explain to me some of the awesome things that have been changed or added or that are rolled into the wedding session that we have coming up on the 15th of February. Quickly before we say goodnight.
Well, we added a little bit more hands-on stuff. So before it was just going to be hands-on shooting the bride and groom, but we've actually got place settings and an extra dress and a cake. So instead of just shooting the bride and groom or individually the bride and groom, we're also going to have examples of, because it may seem like something small, but usually when you're shooting a wedding, the bride, and sometimes begrudgingly the groom, have gone through a lot of long process, looking through a lot of pamphlets and stuff, picking out the right cutlery and the right plates and the right napkins and stuff. And 40 years from now, looking back, you want to preserve those memories and those decisions for you, whether they agree with them then or not. Right. So yeah, I mean, being able to capture those properly in the cake and an extra dress, learning how to put the dress up and catch the light properly and stuff. So that's some new stuff that we've added, some new resources that'll be available to you.
That's cool. So there's not just the business of photography to start with. You cover some essentials of that for a few hours. Then there's going to be a cool buffet. But then the hands-on stuff isn't just the models anymore. You have a lot more details and a lot more other elements involved, which is awesome. So
yeah, sometimes at a wedding, they don't just want photos of themselves all day, right? They put a lot of effort into planning the day, so they want to remember. Like, some people don't really care; they want more photos of guests, but some people really love the details and they want those shots. So you're gonna make sure you gotta get the best out of that.
Very cool. So sorry, go ahead, Gabe. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say we also added other details like the earrings and some jewelry and the shoes, because you can miss a picture of the bride, but do not miss a picture of the shoes. It's really all about the shoes. So,
yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait for the day. It's not too far away, February 15th. If you haven't registered, there are still 2 spots remaining. That's it. Just 2 more openings. It's been going very well, and I'm stoked about it. So if you're interested, check out daytripperphoto.com. It is right there. Just check it out.
It started off when we were working on the notes. We're like, it's like a 12-hour day or something like that, and or
10-hour day.
10-hour day. And we started off, and we're like, oh God, how are we gonna fill 10 hours? And so we started going through our notes, and we should talk about this, and we should talk about that. And within a few hours of working on the notes, and we've got probably 30 hours of face-to-face meetings into this, but within a few hours we're like, oh God, how are we going to cover all of this in 10 hours? And we really gotta streamline this process, because there's a lot. And the more we talk about it, the more we realize, how nuanced and fine-tuned we can get it. So it's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun to do.
Awesome. Very cool. Thank you so much, guys. And in the meantime, Gabe, I mean, people can hire you to shoot weddings, and you and Navi both. Where can people get a hold of you?
You can get a hold of me at bousquetphotography.ca. That's it's like bouquet, but with an S. bousquetphotography.ca.
Excellent. And check them out. Not just weddings, all kinds of events. And like tonight, you were shooting. What were you shooting tonight? What was that?
Tonight was, I wish I could remember the name of the organization, but it's basically the entrepreneurs organization, and basically you have to be. Sorry.
U.S. Entrepreneurs Organizations, and then it's the synonymous EOS.
EOS?
Yes, Entrepreneurs Organizations of, but the of is supposed to be silent.
Scotland?
No, it's supposed to be.
I think it was similar to that. I know there's a few entrepreneur organizations out there. This is the big one.
Entrepreneurs. It's supposed to be EOS, like Entrepreneurs of Ontario. System, not system, but the organization that they have.
Syndicate.
Syndicate. Thank you.
Okay, no, it wasn't that.
No, it wasn't. It was good effort, though. Good effort.
Yeah, A for effort, but no, that wasn't it.
Group, though.
Bottom line, though,
it was EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. Just
EO. That's what she said.
There's no S.
No, I was specifying to EOS.
The Canon cameras. Yes, EOS.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just
all right.
being stupid now.
So.
And Navi, where can folks get a hold of you?
You can find me at navinyum.com.
.com. Very cool. And of course, weddings and all kinds of portraiture and the stuff that you've done for like the suits, the outfits. What was that all about?
Yes. UD replicas they make. It's like commercial replica suits for motorbikes and stuff like that. So actually, they were on I think Discovery Channel today on what's that show? I can't remember. It's Daily Planet, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I think they were on today. So
that was a lot of retouching in those photos.
Actually, no, not really.
Well, because your edits and their edits are so totally different.
Yeah, like I mean, I like more of the sort of dramatic stuff, but for sales purposes, we do a lot more of the sort of white background stuff.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being on, as always. And Remy, our newest person that has ever been on our show, how'd you like it? What do you think?
It was lovely.
Pretty interesting, eh?
Yeah, it was
Cool.
very nice.
Well, how could folks get a hold of you if they're looking to hire you as their photographer?
Remy Darling, which would be remydarling.com.
Very cool. So for everybody who's interested, of course, Remy's on Google Plus and Facebook. Make sure you check out all of her work. Super talent, lots of cool stuff going on in your life, and can't wait to see what you've got coming up next. And thank you so much for taking the time and being on our show.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. We're 20 after 11. We are about 25 minutes a little too late. Gabriel's still got to go to sleep, so we're going to take it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. What was that?
We might be in the store tomorrow to say hi. We're both taking the day off as it's our my wife and my 17-year anniversary tomorrow.
Oh wow, amazing!
Yeah.
You gonna spend it at Henry's?
Well, we'll pop by and make fun of you because you're working.
Fair enough. Okay.
All right, so we'll all get together tomorrow. We'll see everybody at the store. All right, guys. Thank you all so much. We're going to say goodnight. I'm going to hit stop broadcast now. Have a great week. We'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Remember, water and bend are the challenges for this coming week. Take care, everybody. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.